Hey everybody, it's King Kaiju here, and we have got some breaking news courtesy of The Hollywood Reporter. I guess it technically is breaking rumor, but with, excuse me, Peter Gunn and Peter Safran getting ready to do a big presentation to the new Warner CEO, there's been some, shall we say, leaks about some of the things that they have not necessarily in store, but some of the things they're not going to do. Let's check it out. All right, so it looks like there's three sort of major sort of bombs, I guess we would say, that they've dropped. And they don't mince words in the title alone. It says Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 not moving forward as DC movies hit turning point. Basically, it says that James Gunn and Peter Safran have basically are in the final stages of planning out their big future. If you recall, they're supposed to have basically like a 10-year plan for DC, films. Obviously, similar to what Marvel did, with everything being tied together, the introduction of certain characters, blah 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 blah, etc. The hope amongst all the fans is that, and it's probably a worthwhile. It's definitely worthwhile, but it's probably an accurate wish. And this article indicates that some of it may be coming true. That it's not just an overarching plan that they're working on, but they're going to be maybe even overseeing each individual script, each individual plot, each individual idea of what is being done with and or to the characters, in order to keep not just continuity, but in all honesty, the hope and the wish is to keep the characters the way they are, or close to the way they are, and just don't go down this stupid woke route that Marvel in certainly Phase 4, but not 1, 2, and 3, the ones that made billions of dollars, did. So let's dig a little bit deeper on the first one, which is Wonder Woman 3. All right, for those of you who didn't see Wonder Woman 1984, congratulations. You saved that over 2 hours of your life. Now, the first Wonder Woman, great film, very enjoyable. A little bit of issues with Ares having a mustache, but we won't get into that. Still enjoyed it. Didn't have any issues with it. Nice, beautiful, female-led film. Second Wonder Woman, 1984, utter disaster. Insultingly bad. Breaking canon, breaking previously established plot points, the whole sort of pseudo controversy of taking over another man's body and rape. I mean, it went on and on and on, but at the end of the day, it was just a bad, not entertaining film. I mean, take all of the BS away and strip it down. That's it. It was terrible, and part of the problem was that they let Patty Jenkins write it. That's it. Patty Jenkins, great director, not going to take it away from her. Clearly not a great writer. Because Wonder Woman 1 made so much money, as Hollywood is wont to do, studio executives have no clue, and they just go, okay, you must know what you're doing, here's a ton of money. And you see the results. So, despite 1984 being an atrocious film, it was a film that made a little bit of money, nowhere near part 1, and studio executives, here's a more tons of money, go at it. So according to the article, Gunn and Company, Peter Safran got it this time, got one look at that script and were like, not doing that. Now, this is just rumor and speculation, of course. It might be simply that Wonder Woman in a solo film isn't part of their plan. Possible. Could be that they say, hey, this script, not going to happen, give us another one. Various options available. Obviously, you got to get the clickbait headline. It's done. It's over. Well, it may not necessarily be, but at the very least, at the very minimum, it says that A, there is some kind of plan in place, and this treatment by Patty Jenkins does not fit into it. Doesn't mean a different treatment doesn't mean it won't get made, but at least it shows that there is a definite plan, and anybody familiar with the DC films That's a big step forward. All right, so returning back to the article, let's scroll down here. They hyperbole and flourish. It's an entertainment article, but basically, in a nutshell, next week, so that depending on when you're watching this, puts it basically middle of December 2022. Gunn and Safran are scheduled to meet with David Zaslav, new head of Warner, new CEO, and present their plan. Okay. Then we covered the Patty Jenkins thing. And then they go into the fact that, a couple of days ago, Gal Gadot did a tweet saying, thanks so much. Maybe she knew it was getting nixed. And, basically everything's in flux. It's all up in the air. But then they do land on one of the big questions that everyone had going forward, and that's what happens with Henry Cavill returning as Superman, specifically Man of Steel 2. All right, the Henry Cavill situation is one of the more fascinating ones for me, from the standpoint that I would be hard-pressed to have a fight with anyone over the fact that Henry Cavill was the best visually Superman. Okay? Now, what that means is he had the look, the muscles, the chin, the hair, everything. Now, everyone goes, no, Reeves is the greatest Superman. No. Acting-wise, story-wise, except for the last one, yeah, sure. But he didn't have the look that Henry Cavill, when he was jacked, ripped, and cut as Superman, leapt off that comic book page. Okay? Henry Cavill himself is a very competent and great actor. He's also a nerd, so he's got respect for the material. The people writing the movies that Henry Cavill played Superman did not have respect for the movies. For the comics. It's really early here. So, he can only do so much, as evident by The Witcher, amongst other things. So, Henry Cavill returning, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, Henry Cavill returning at the end of Black Adam was obviously, or arguably, I guess, the best thing of the film. But also sort of a thank you, finally. We've got him back, and we've got him in an element that he's going to be fighting Black Adam or blah, blah, and James Gunn is coming up. Okay, whatever else. But now the rumor is that there's not going to be a Man of Steel 2. And even Henry Cavill himself said, hey, I'm back as Superman. Okay, well, again, it's hard to say and hard to know how much is really going on. That is to say that it's a pretty safe bet that by the time a piece of news hits the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, and any kind of media outlet, it's already done. It may be done by months, maybe done by weeks, but it's already done. So I can't imagine. Now, more ridiculous things have happened, but I can't imagine that, James Gunn and Peter Safran were like, oh, yeah, we have no plans for Superman, so go ahead and include him at the end of Black Adam. I mean, I really can't. I mean, yes, that could happen. It is DC, but it would be the stupidest thing ever. Now, having plans for Superman as Henry Cavill doesn't mean Man of Steel 2. We don't know what the plans are. Any fans of the comic book knows that Superman has had his hand in everything. Duh, he's Superman. Just like Batman has had his hand in everything. Duh, he's Batman. Doesn't necessarily have to have a standalone film. Now, obviously, it's a slightly different. They think, they can make money, blah, 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 blah. But honestly, considering the damage done, it might make a little bit more sense to have him, cameo or co-star or be part of an ensemble of a couple of movies before giving him his solo outing. I don't know. Or, honestly, it's James Gunn. You could be doing alternate Earth Superman. You could do Red Sun. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can do now that you've got Henry Cavill, the look, the actor, the ability. So yeah, the fact that they're all about because again, negativity sells. The Man of Steel 2 is being canceled. There's no guarantee of that, but even if there is, it doesn't mean we're not getting Henry Cavill as Superman. We just may not be getting him initially right out of the gate in a solo film. Okay, the last item in the article is potentially the most bizarre and it rubs me. I'll get into it in a second, but let's check it out. Basically, further along here, they go into everything that I just said. In questioning whether there's going to be a sequel of Black Adam. I mean, it lost a ton of money. I can't imagine that they're going to beat that dead horse. Old DC would have. I don't know about new DC. However, they then dropped this little bomb regarding Jason Momoa, Aquaman himself. And the idea is that the next Aquaman movie would be the last movie. And then they get into a pretty wild speculation that wouldn't end his involvement with DC, however. That he would take over as the character Lobo. Okay. And this goes kind of in line with their fresh start, and, it would be a big change, obviously. Okay, so right off the bat, the thing with Jason Momoa ceasing to be Aquaman and becoming Lobo is it sounds like fan casting, quite honestly. I mean, I think I might have seen, some overlay graphic of Jason Momoa as Lobo. And yes, they're both big, beefy, muscular guys with long hair, which is why it's fan casting. But on a bigger concept, bigger idea, and this would be quite the test. And if one thing I know, studios aren't big on testing things, they want guarantees. The test would be this. There is this idea floating out there, and it has been contradicted rather ferociously by the actors themselves. But the idea is that, quote, there are no movie stars, there are superheroes. And that is to say that people are, in this theory, going to the movies to see Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. They're not going to see Robert Downey Jr., Chris Adams, and, why am I flaking? Oh my God, this is embarrassing. Who's Thor? Anyway, Chris Hemsworth. Thank you. Good Lord. Again, I said this early. The point being is they're dead wrong. They're dead wrong. If you had given the role of Iron Man to a far lesser actor, it would have been far less successful. Okay? Because they seem to forget that when Iron Man 1 came out, the biggest question asked amongst everybody going to the theater is, who's Iron Man? Sorry. He wasn't a big household name. He's not Batman. He's not Superman. Those are household names. That's it. Robert Downey Jr. made that role, made you care, made you interested. Bottom line, that's that simple. So no, people aren't going to see the characters. They're still movie stars. And where that plays into this is I'm not seeing the audience's ability to separate, right? I mean, Jason Momoa is Aquaman. He has been Aquaman in 3 movies or will be in 3 movies, 4, whatever, it doesn't matter. If they just say, oh, boom, here's Lobo. It's not Lobo, it's Aquaman. That's my theory. I don't know. It's not a thing, that I know actors don't want to be typecast, and I know they could play different roles, and I know that if you see an actor in one movie and he's a big strong stud, in another movie he's a weak little wimp, in another movie he's a rocket science genius, those are all believable, but they're all different movies. They're all different characters. I guess the problem is this. Let's hang our hat on this. The films take place in the same universe. In the DC universe, there's an Aquaman. it's Jason Momoa. If you say, oh, now there's a Lobo, it's also Jason Momoa, it's not going to work. Yeah. The only asterisk, the only caveat on that, if they did a makeup job for the whole film to really make him look like Lobo, and he didn't really look like Jason Momoa, because in all honesty, Aquaman doesn't look like Aquaman. It looks like Jason Momoa. You could get by with that. It might be even amusing or a slight nod if you had Jason Momoa play in a throwaway bit scene Aquaman. Like, that would be funny. People get a slight kick out of that. You might be able to get that by. Lobo is in many aspects a far more interesting character than Aquaman. The only other reason, I hate to keep coming back to this, but the only other reason that I don't see this road being gone down is Lobo is a manly man in the comic books. That's it. End of story. Now, they've done their best, even in the comic books, to try to, demasculate him, even doing a female Lobo, et cetera, et cetera. But I can't see Gunn, or at least I hope Gunn doesn't go for that. I hope Safran isn't that type. I hope that they're both smart and savvy enough to know that people don't want that crap, as evident by, I don't know, all comic book sales and box office where they've pulled that shit. And instead, we want a beefy, manly Lobo. So if they go down that route and they do the face paint, the whole of it, it might work. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a big struggle. It's going to be a roadblock. They might be better served, going down a different road. Plus, Lobo as a character might be a little bit difficult for the general audiences to understand, especially if they're going to go with any kind of comic accurate background or characterization. Now, if I'm dead wrong in all this, and Gunn and Safran go down this woke path, it's all going to blow up in their face anyways. But fingers crossed that they're at least heading in the right direction by getting rid of Wonder Woman 3, at least in the form that it was submitted, and having an actual 10-year arc plan that, if things don't jive with it, are not going to happen, vis-a-vis Henry Cavill's Superman getting his own movie, and or Jason Momoa continuing as Aquaman, or Aquaman having any role whatsoever. I mean, that might be the issue, and it would make sense, because, I don't know. I guess I'm one of the majority who never got the Aquaman character. But either way, time for you guys to chime in. Time for you guys to let me know what you think. I could be wrong in all this. So if so, or I'm right, let me know in the comment section below, and we can get this party started.